Students, this is K. Mujakar, lecturer in commerce. In previous video, we have discussed about the introduction to the foreign exchange exposure. In today's video, we can discuss about the types of exposure. It means nothing but the types of foreign exchange risk which are occurring this type of risk while dealing in the foreign exchange transactions regarding the foreign exchange currencies. Here, before going to discuss these types of exposure concept, till now who have not yet subscribed my channel, subscribe my channel. Due to subscribing, you will get the updated notifications, and also like and share and comment it. Due to sharing, your friends may also be get benefited. Okay, here we already discussed that why this type of risk occurs means due to dealing of foreign exchange transactions. Why? Because there may be in our world there are developed countries as well as developing countries and also underdeveloped countries. Each country's currencies has a certain type of risk. Say for example, when I am exporting or think that when I am exporting the goods from a United States of America, here I had to pay after receiving the goods and services. I had to settle the payments to that counterparty. In such situations, there is a developed country, so their currency will be high when compared to India's Indian rupees. So in such type of dealing the transactions and fluctuations, there will be a risk. Such type of risk will be occur. So how to minimize such type of foreign exchange risk means which I have discussed in previous video. Please go on watch. Then come to these types of exposure. Why? Because if we see directly these types of exposure video, we can't understand. So better you watch the introduction to the foreign exchange video concept in my channel. Later on, come to this types of exposure. Here, foreign exchange exposure may be broadly categorized into economic exposure and translation exposure. My dear students, this is one of the very important topic which is asked in many times in competitive exams in like SLET and NET also. So please watch this video till the end. So there may be availability of conclusion and easily understandable to you. Okay, here foreign exchange exposure may be broadly categorized into economic exposure and translation exposure. Economic exposure refers to potential changes in future cash flows of a firm. Nothing but future cash flows means nothing but it may be a cash inflows or either it may be a cash outflows of a particular firm that automatically results from unanticipated changes in exchange rates. These changes in foreign exchange rates would impact on monetary assets and liabilities. Say for example, it has a increase or profitable or whatever it may be, there may be automatically it shows to its automatically a firm's particular monetary assets as well as liabilities. Say for example, it may be loss or reduce or whatever it may be, any changes has been occurred. Same it shows its monetary assets and liabilities. It shows its impact on it. So automatically due to this changes in the foreign exchange rates or ups and downs in the foreign exchange rate, automatically it shows a greater impact on its monetary assets as well as liabilities as well as future cash flows. Thus, economic exposure. See here again the economic exposure has again subclassified into transaction exposure as well as operating exposure. Okay, first of all, we can learn here transaction exposure in brief. Transaction exposure refers to the potential changes in value of the contractual future cash flows. Contractual future cash flows. First of all, we should know what is meant by contractual future cash flows are non-monetary assets and liabilities. First, we can learn here what is meant by contractual future cash flows. Here, contractual cash flows means nothing but in assessing a bond or whatever it may be in, we are assessing a bond within a 5-year terms, within a 5-year terms or maturity that pays a variable rate. It means in 5 years term it has a variable rate, it doesn't have any fixed rate. It means there will be any changes. Now only I have said no, there will be automatically it gets the foreign exchange rate. Why? Because our stock market is a volatile, it means temporary market. Why? Because today's prices may not be tomorrow, or tomorrow's prices may not be day after tomorrow. So it has been ups and downs or fluctuations. Same here also in assessing a bond. Take for example any bond which it has a 5-year terms, but it that pays a variable rate, it doesn't pay any fixed rate, it pays a variable rate that is reset every 6 months. See here, contractual cash flows means nothing but in assessing a bond with a 5-year term that pays a variable rate that is reset every 6 months but always reflects a 5-year maturity. It means any entity they are considering thing that they are considered a contractual cash flows on a instruments. It means nothing but any bond instruments that automatically resets every 6 months to a 6 months interest, but is otherwise identical. That is meant by contractual future cash flows. Now we can know about the monetary assets and liabilities. First of all, we can know what is meant by monetary assets. Then we can learn the full monetary assets and liabilities. Here, monetary asset, nothing but it is an asset whose value, it may be 1 crore or 2 crore or 2000 US dollars, whatever it may be. A monetary asset is an asset whose value is stated or convertible into a fixed cash of amount. It means here the monetary assets means which are converting. It may be for a short period. Think that for example I am taking a 1 year period. A 1 year period. Any asset which in a short period which is ready to be convertible, or anything think that not only a 1 year or any short period, which the type of asset or monetary asset which it has been converted into a fixed amount of cash, that is meant by monetary assets. Say for example we can take accounts receivable or investments. It may be any asset, but here major aim of monetary assets is that whose value is convertible into a fixed amount of cash. Now we can learn the full term monetary assets and liabilities. Here monetary assets and liabilities, we know that it is a financial accounting term, that refers to all assets and liabilities whose value is measured and stated in cash that are likely to generate exchange rate risk that represents amount that counterparty settle in currencies. It means automatically here counterparties means nothing but the two parties. Say for example A and B. Here this the person from India, this the person from United States. They are dealing such type of transactions. So here that are whose value is measured and stated in cash and that are likely to generate exchange rate risk as their amount represent that counterparty settle in currencies different than company's functional one. That is meant by monetary assets and liabilities. Nothing but in one word we should say that monetary assets means nothing but which is ready for converted into a fixed amount of cash. That is meant by monetary assets and liabilities. It may be investments, accounts receivable, etc. Next, automatically see here Transaction exposure refers to potential changes in the value of contractual cash flows or monetary assets and liabilities, resulting automatically what it shows. If it automatically the monetary assets and liabilities converted into a cash, into a fixed amount of cash, automatically it results from changing in the exchange rate, is it not? So next, operating exposure on the other hand, it represents the potential changes in the value of non-monetary assets or real assets and liabilities. Now nothing but it is the opposite of the monetary assets and liabilities. Here we have said that monetary assets means nothing but it will be ready for convertible into a fixed amount of cash for a short period. It may be investments or account receivable, whatever it may be. But here non-monetary assets means nothing but it is a non-monetary assets is also an asset whose value change over time in response to a economic conditions. It means here nothing but a non-monetary assets, we know that it will be shown as a shown on the balance sheet side, but here such type of assets would not be converted into cash for a short period of time. For a short period of time, here non-monetary assets would not convert into a cash for a short period of time. Such type of assets are called as an non-monetary assets and liabilities. So here also a here nothing but transaction exposure means it relates to the monetary assets and liabilities. Why? Because there are occurring some type of transaction. Here operating exposure means nothing but here it deals with the value of non-monetary assets or real assets and liabilities due to unanticipated changes in the exchange rates. See here I am showing into a one diagram. Foreign exchange exposure is mainly classified into two types: economic exposure as well as translation or accounting exposure. Translation exposure is also called as accounting exposure. Economic exposure is again classified into two types: transaction exposure and operating exposure. Now itself we have discussed in brief about the transaction exposure as well as operating exposure. Here foreign exchange exposure may be broadly classified into economic, that only here which I have said that. Okay, here translation exposure we can see. Translation exposure is also known as accounting exposure. Why? We can say that it results from a restatement of the values of the items of the financial statements regarding of the any multinational companies. In other words, translation exposure arises when item of any financial statements. It may be any financial statements regarding the profit and loss statements or whatever it may be that are stated in the foreign currencies are restated into the home currency of an MNC. Why? Because it automatically depends on the movements of relevant foreign exchange rate. Such restatement may result in the foreign exchange gains or losses. If there is a positive, then automatically we get such type of gains. If there is a negative impact, automatically we get such type of losses. So here accounting exposure is the potential for accounting derived changes in the owner's equity. We know that it automatically changes into the owner's equity. Why? Because to occur because of the need to translate financial statements of the financial foreign subsidiaries into a single reporting currency. That only here he is saying financial statements of foreign subsidiaries into a single reporting currency for consolidated financial statement. We are making all types of foreign into a one consolidated financial statement. Exchange rate fluctuations influence the future cash flows of a firm. It may be inflows or outflows. That is the value of the firm is subject to the transaction exposure as well as operating exposure. Transaction exposure arises when the firm's contractual obligations or monetary assets and liabilities are exposed to unanticipated changes. Now only we have discussed same here about that in exchange rates. While operating exposure nothing but firms real assets or operating cash flows are exposed to the unanticipated changes in exchange rates. In other words, economic exposure refers to the impact of unexpected fluctuations. We are not expecting, it is the unexpected fluctuations in the exchange rate or future cash flows arising out of foreign currencies denominated contractual transactions as well as future cash flows to be generated by the real assets non-monetary of a firm. See here, economic cash exposure is divided into two, transaction and operating exposure. Okay, in order to understand still, I'll say one example to you. I'll say one example to you. Although the value of the firm is exposed to both real and nominal changes in the exchange rate, it is the changes in the real exchange rate that have a significant economic implications for the relative competitiveness. Yeah, of course, it's true. Why? Because it's a real, when there is a changes in the real exchange rate only, it shows a significant economic implications for the relative competitiveness of exporters as well as importers. A real depreciation of the home currency against foreign currency lowers the prices of domestic goods and services in the foreign country. Why? We can see here. Think that a real appreciation of the home currency against a foreign currency rises. See again here, I am putting a mark to you. A real appreciation of the home currency. Think that there is an in any appreciation of the home currency against a foreign currency rises the prices of domestic goods and services in the foreign country. It means here automatically our home currency appreciation has been raised, so the prices of domestic goods and services in the foreign country, okay, it's fine. It's fine. A real appreciation of the home currency against the foreign currency has been raised due to the prices of the goods and services in the foreign country. Due to that, as a result, the demand for goods and services in the foreign market comes down. At the same time, imports from the foreign country became cheaper. As you know that the concept, our, for example, demand increases means automatically price decreases. Demand increases means price decreases, or vice versa, demand decreases means price increases. Same concept here. Same concept here also same. Our prices has been increased, so it's demand for the domestic goods in the foreign market, automatically it comes down. At the same time, imports from the foreign country becomes cheaper. In continuation, see here one example. We just discussed if the exchange rate of the Indian rupees against US dollar moves from to 41 rupees to 42. The cost of the US manufactured motor car to the Indian customer comes down to the 4,10,000 to from 4,20,000. This may lead to the decline in the demand for domestic goods because residents are able to get the foreign substitute at lower prices. See here, there is an real exchanges, real appreciation. So why? Because due to such happening automatically, and every Indian, they will get the they will buy that. Due to that, there may be decline in the demand for the domestic goods because residents are also able to get the foreign substitutes at lower prices. See here, that is the main advantage in terms of the domestic currency. If there is a no decline, then any resident, it's very high unable to purchase. So it is thing that we can it is one of the benefit. Further, a cash flows in terms of domestic currency towards the contractual payments. It means nothing but the interest. Contractual payments means nothing but the interest in a foreign currency will decline following the depreciation of the real value of the home currency. Thus, for the business firm, the appreciation for the real value of the home currency would cause a reduction in both cash inflows on exports or outflows. Think that is here in terms of the home currency. In summary, importing firms tend to gain from a real appreciation of their home currency and lose from a real depreciation. This is the one thing. Whereas exporting firms tend to gain from a real depreciation and lose from a real appreciation. It's a opposite, it is a vice versa. One, there is a one side real appreciation and loss of real depreciation. Whereas for the exporting firm, there will be a gain from real depreciation and losing a real appreciation of the domestic currency. However, the extent of such gains and losses depends upon the firm's production and marketing strategies. So automatically we know that these gains and losses automatically it depends upon the firm's production and marketing strategy. If there is a proper strategy, we can get a lot of gains, and if there is an not proper strategy, automatically we get a losses. Automatically, whatever it may be, it ultimately influence the operating exposure of a firm. Operating exposure of a firm. It should be noted that purely domestic firms may also have a economic exposure. For example, assume that toy making company in India buys all its raw materials and supplies locally and sells all its product toys locally. The general continuation is that Indian company is not subject to economic exposure as all its transactions are domestic and in Indian rupees. Of course, we know that if we sell it in local only, automatically all transactions it happens in Indian rupees only, isn't it? When he does any exports only, then automatically generation of exchange rates regarding US dollars or Japanese yens or euros, whatever it may be. But here, all the transactions are domestic in Indian rupees due to is supplying in locally and products in locally. So, however, in reality, the company faces a competition from foreign firms in its local market. Any change in the exchange rate affects the competitiveness of all the firms. Any changes, isn't it? It may be positive impact or negative impact in the firms of the Indian market. Customers of toys shift from foreign firms to Indian firms and vice versa depending upon the price. Here we know that price is an main one. Price is an main one. Price determines the profit. Price determines the competition. There are many determinants regarding the price. Price is the major part. If you in order to do a market or any implement a proper market strategy or any selling of the goods and services in home country as well as domestic foreign country, main thing is the price. Due to your price decides the profits and losses of your firm. If there is an exact price or automatically it leads first, but one thing in my point of view, price is the most important one which decides the profits and losses. So here also customer of toys shift from customers of toys customers of toys shift from foreign firms to Indian firms and vice versa depending upon the price between the competitive firms. The shift of customers will affect the cash flows of Indian firm. Thus the purely Indian company is also subject to economic exposure even though it's not engaged in any international transactions. Here one thing to say that economy, if the business, if any Indian company, even though it doesn't deal in international transactions, also it occurs a economic exposure. Why? Because due to such reasons, due to such reasons, my dear student friends, in next video we can discuss another beautiful topic. Thanks for watching.